incredible offense from? What kind of pride? Where's Bobby Portis?
After winning a championship last night, finishing off the Suns, the Milwaukee Bucks just won on their home court and brought home the title for the first time in 50 years. The stars on this team are getting a lot of shine, but this video is about the name the Milwaukee crowd shout the loudest: Bobby Portis. First, I want to thank you guys for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you do, drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. With that said, let us look at the legend himself, Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, and it could be a rough place to grow up, especially for a young kid growing up in a rough neighborhood who was also raised by only his single mother. Bobby Portis was all of those things and has shown tremendous strength to come from his neck of the woods. Bro said when he was just 10 years old, he was playing video games in his house and hearing gunshots, ran to a window to see a car under fire from a machine gun. And he saw all this from the bedroom of his childhood home. In an environment like that, a lot of kids can get lost in the streets. In a city where the violent crime rate is double what it is in the rest of the United States, Bobby was able to do big things for himself. He always had basketball. He was born into it. His mom, Tina Edwards, was a scholarship hooper at Jackson State University, a HBCU out in Mississippi. Unfortunately for Bobby though, just because he had basketball didn't mean life wasn't hard. He spent a lot of time in and out of apartments, and he had a lot of financial struggles with his mom early on. He was the oldest of four, his mother having all four boys, and often having to rely on friends and family members. He found himself at one point in his life in a 2-bedroom house with 9 people. It was tough. His mom worked multiple jobs and she eventually saved up for a house, putting a roof over their head for Bobby and his younger bros, and she was doing what it took to keep him fed. Bobby credits his hard work mentality to his mom and his upbringing, saying she was a role model and the city that he grew up was very blue collar. By the time he got to high school, Bobby was focused on getting better at basketball as much as he could, and he wanted to live a life in the NBA where he could provide for his family. Basketball in Arkansas was a huge deal in the 90s, especially because of that gritty mindset that came with the 40 minutes of hell Razorbacks. A team coached by Nolan Richardson out at the University of Arkansas that won a national title, beating Duke University. They played fast and they imposed their will on defense. They put a lot of pressure on ball handlers, and that work and that ethos is what really defines Arkansas hoops. They worked hard. Bobby was mentored by a star on that team. And when you think about it, having a guy like Corliss Williamson, a player who once was under Nolan Richardson, had to be a big attribute in helping Bobby achieve his goals. Williamson was Bobby's AAU coach, and they eventually won an AAU national championship with fellow Razorback teammates Moses Kingsley and Manuel Watkins. In high school, Bobby was a beast, winning 4 state championships, becoming the top-ranked player in the state, averaging 20 and 10 his senior year, and he got selected to the McDonald's All-American Game, the Nike Hoop Summit, and the Jordan Brand Classic. Dog was even a top 16 recruit in the class and was a straight beast out of the rock. Arkansas was in his blood, so when he was given the opportunity, he only needed one visit to say that he was going to stay home. Portis committed to being a Razorback and was the first 5-star recruit Arkansas had to play in the McDonald's All-American Game in over a decade. And the next step in his journey was going to be on the collegiate level, where he had to try to live up to the hype. His first year in college, 2013-2014, Portis was shining. We're talking about 12 points per game, 6 rebounds, and a block on average. And at the 4 position, the Razorbacks obviously was doing well with him. They was having a little success. They even hit the NIT, but got eliminated in the second round. Over his sophomore season, Arkansas became the clear second best team in the SEC that was being led by the Kentucky Wildcats, who at the time were on their run to going undefeated heading into the Final Four. And Portis was leading that squad with 17 points per game and 8 rebounds, matching a future lottery pick in the season, Jahlil Okafor, on the college level, while also shooting 40% from 3 and chipping in a block and a steal every game. Taking home Conference Player of the Year that season and pushing his squad into the SEC Final and then to the NCAA Tournament, he led them to their first win in the tournament in 7 years, beating Wofford, and then, subsequently, unfortunately, his last game would be against UNC. After a season full of hype, Bobby was on to the league, where he was projected to be a borderline lottery pick in a class with guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Willie Cauley-Stein, Kristaps Porzingis, Jahlil Okafor, and Miles Turner, just to name a few. He was headed to the first round, and with a draft that deep on bigs, that's quite an accomplishment. And coming from where he was, Bobby knew that the NBA was his path for him and his family to cash in once he made it to the next level. When draft night came in 2015, he was taken by the Bulls 22nd overall, becoming the first Razorback taken in this first round since Ronnie Brewer in 2006, almost a decade ago. When Portis got drafted by the Bulls, he came in at the tail end of the Derrick Rose era, where the team had solid fours and bigs, and he had to scrap for minutes behind the likes of Taj Gibson, Nikola Mirotic, Jimmy Butler, Paul Gasol, and Doug McDermott. It was Fred Hoiberg's first season that year, and at 21 years old, he had his knocks, obviously, as a rookie. He was quoted as someone unwilling to pass, looking lost on offense, and a poor defender. But Bobby always played with energy, and he always had that silky kind of smooth jumper and was showing signs of developing on the NBA level. The Bulls, on the other hand, were starting to show big shadows of their impending disappointment, ultimately with the friction between Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose highlighting all their issues, and they were taking a step back that season, ultimately missing the playoffs. The second season he played with the Bulls, they added D-Wade, they added Rajon Rondo, and as D-Rose left, it became Jimmy Butler's team, and they were trying to push to get back in the playoffs. Portis saw the team break up, and he was also regressing himself, and that could be hard on a young dude. Losing minutes and all that, it was tough. And as time was going on and Hoiberg was writing his system more, it seemed as though the team was going to play through its stars and things would only click for Bobby after year 2. But in year 3, everything started off with a career reckoning.
Developing now, violence on the court. One Bulls player punched in the face and sent to the hospital, the other suspended.
Prior to his third season, Portis and teammate Nikola Mirotic were going at it hard in practice, and it resulted in them getting into a fight where Mirotic would go on to charge Portis, and Portis hit him hard in the face, resulting in Mirotic getting a concussion and breaking parts of his jaw. The lead up to all this was an offseason in which the Bulls tore down their roster, moving on from all of the starters last season except for Robin Lopez, and so their minutes were open. At the power forward position, the team used their draft capital to get Lauri Markkanen, but after that, they needed a solid backup at the 4. And Mirotic and Portis were competing to see who was going to be that guy. This is what Portis said some years later before signing with Milwaukee this offseason when discussing the incident with Shams Charania. He said, "Me and Mirotic, we always got into altercations. That wasn't our first time. The guys in the front office knew that. That was a little different. Some of the things that got misconstrued was that I sucker punched him or whatever. The guys that were there at the time, they knew exactly what happened. If it was that serious, they wouldn't have offered me a contract extension. What's so crazy is me and Mirotic were balling together when he came back from injury. I haven't talked to him ever since then, but no hard feelings at all my way. I was 22 at the time. He was 26 something. We were both young guys. That's a blur for me." The GM of the team at the time, Gar Forman, was right on the practice court when the incident happened, and this is something that can only happen when bad management of egos in a locker room is happening to a team, and the Bulls honestly were a shit show at the time. Bobby didn't like how he was portrayed after the incident and made efforts to apologize, but like he said, he never really talked to Mirotic again after that, and ultimately Mirotic would get traded, move around a little bit before playing with the Bucks in their last playoff run that was deep into the Eastern Conference. He then went overseas, and what this really showed is that nobody really knew who Bobby was in Chicago. See, as a kid, Bobby was always hot-headed. He had a lot of anger and sometimes he didn't channel it the right way. Growing up playing AAU, it said referees used to come over to Bobby's coaches before the games and they would basically say, hey, get your hothead kid under control. He would get angry at foul calls, chew out the refs, and if a player went at Bobby with a foul or something, Bobby went right back out there and got his revenge. To teach him to cool off and be a better player, coaches would bench Bobby and have him work 5 to 7 days a week to earn his spot on the squad. By the time he got to high school, Bobby had cleaned up his play enough and was so dedicated to the game that he was shining. Mans was so dedicated, he said he didn't even bring a phone to school so he could use his time in class to study and not take away from the time he needed to practice. He had learned to use his anger to drive him, but that doesn't mean he wasn't going to stand up to the people close to him. When Bobby was 15, his mom was still having financial troubles. And one day, his mom's boyfriend, the father of Bobby's 3 younger brothers, was chasing Bobby's mom around the house, arguing with her. Bobby was tired of the constant argument and wasn't close to his mom's boyfriend because he would spend his time gambling instead of raising his own sons. So Bobby had decided that day that enough was enough and decided to stand up to him. The situation escalated when the young man stood up to the much older man and Portis found himself having to defend him and his mom. When the boyfriend started getting violent and even espoused that he would hit Bobby, Bobby stood his ground. So when he swung on Bobby, Bobby grabbed his fist and told him, "Don't do this." Bobby's mom packed up the stuff, took the kids, and they moved out. When you look at him punching his teammate through one lens, you can say Bobby is a bad person, but in context, that the team was mismanaged so much and going through so many changes, all Bobby wanted to do was find a way to a crucial extension and take care of his family. You can see how he saw Mirotic as an enemy at that point, and I'm not saying what he did was right, but Bobby was only trying to prove himself to be a guy who can fit in this league, and there was somebody standing in his way of his success and his family's success. Mirotic never looked at it the same way and said he wanted out of Chicago, and it was either him or Bobby. And while they played together for a little bit of time after that, Mirotic, after coming back from injury, saw Bobby had already taken a major step forward in the minutes he can get and made himself a fixture in the Bulls' young rotation. While the Bulls once again didn't have much success in the offseason, Portis found he was offered an extension from the front office to be Markkanen's backup, moving to the power forward position almost permanently as a backup for 4 years and between 40 and 50 million. However, he turned down the offer and decided to go into the 4th year of his rookie deal, betting on himself. And he set out to take a major leap forward, and unfortunately, things started to fall apart right then and there. After posting 20 and 11 in the season opener, he sprained his MCL in his right knee a week into the season. He sat out for 7 straight weeks, and by the time he came back, he really didn't last long with the Bulls, being available for only another 10 days before spraining his ankle. He would turn to the Bulls again one more time, but near the trade deadline, he was traded with Jabari Parker to the Wizards for Otto Porter Jr. Now, while on the Wizards, Portis arguably had the best stretch of his career, starting 22 games out of 28, and he was getting 14 points, 8 rebounds, and shooting 40% from deep on 4 attempts a game, showing the full promise that he came into the NBA with as a first-round pick. That offseason gamble, however, it worked. The Knicks offered him a 2-year, $31 million contract with a second-year player option, securing more average money for Bobby on his deal, and the Wizards, who owned his contract rights as a restricted free agent, refused to match the deal. Unfortunately, the Knicks just kept adding power forwards to the roster, and the team was an all-time doozy. I'm talking about head coach fired mid-season, president fired mid-season, Spike Lee getting removed from the Garden. He even went on First Take to denounce James Dolan. For Bobby, his minutes went down as well as his overall efficiency and usage across the board. Things got so bad that at season's end, he opted out of his player option for $15.75 million. And the contract offer that the Knicks subsequently sent his way to try to keep him. And even after bringing in Leon Rose, William Wesley, and Tom Thibodeau, he turned down the offer to be a part of a group that was trying to turn the ship around, which we saw the Knicks, they did turn it around. And Portis at some point last offseason got in touch with Giannis, who was in Greece, and said he thought he could help the Milwaukee Bucks. He said after a few interactions with Giannis, he heard through the grapevine that Giannis had went to the front office and told them to come get him. Bobby said he would later sign for the biannual exception, taking a significant pay cut, making only $3.6 million this year. But when asked, Bobby has lamented, and is fairly well documented in reporting, that he has been very frugal with his money since his days as a rookie so that he could provide for his family. He was tired of missing the playoffs and wanted to be in an environment where he could shine. And when you look at this postseason, it was definitely the right choice. On the season, Portis had 11 points and 7 rebounds a game on 20 minutes per game, shooting 47% from 3. On the postseason, he has 8 points, 5 rebounds a game, but his presence, intensity, and hustle are felt every time he touches the court. Off the court, he has started a foundation to help single mothers in his hometown of Little Rock, and he's really helping to change what the culture of the Rock is for little kids, helping provide the necessities so that the single mothers and the children can seek out better opportunities for themselves to keep kids off the streets. And with all that said, when you think about it, Bobby Portis ain't a bad dude. He plays hard and he got that blue collar mentality, hustling better than anybody. And it's no wonder that's why the fans chant so hard and they feel that ethos whenever Bobby is close to the city. Hear him in his own words talking about what it means for fans to show him love.
If I could have the keys to the city like Bobby, man, I'd be even better, huh?
Let's hand Bobby the mic.
Bobby.
Bobby, you said earlier in these playoffs that you felt embraced by the city of Milwaukee because you thought their work ethic mirrored yours. What did it mean to you to be embraced in this moment with them as a champion?
It means the world. For 10 months straight, I was at home just working out, real depressed, just real down on myself about not being invited to the bubble with my team. Having a chance just to go home and work out and hang out with my mom. I found peace again. I found peace in my life. And coming here, man, was the best thing that ever happened to me, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
With 16 points, 2 made threes, a block, and 3 rebounds, he put on for the city that was his home. And now he's exiting this season not only with the new city behind his back chanting his name, but with the ring and the heart of a champion. A living legend now, Bobby Portis. Thank you for sticking all the way through to the end. I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Is Bobby Portis the Bucks' biggest legend on this team? And will Bobby resign at the end of the season to make another run at the championship? Here's 2 more videos. You can also subscribe to the channel or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DannyDoSports. Hope to see you soon.